Get your filthy hands off my mother! Are you there? You're the one that's Okpaku whatever you are saying. Get out of my house!
Matthew, just leave, please.
No, Esho. You not go fit push your papa come out from your house. If you push me now I fall, you go kill White Igbo too.
Because of his selfish interest and greed, he suddenly remembered he had a son who is now a millionaire. But what happened when he tried to claim him? Let's find out together. Hey friends, welcome back. Today, we bring you another gripping movie that will keep you at the edge of your seat. It's highly educational and deeply emotional. But before we dive in, please don't forget to subscribe for more captivating stories from us. This story begins with an elderly man named Mr. Matthew. One evening, while returning from work, he admired a young man on a banner. When he got home, he quarreled with his son, Daniel, for eating the only food he had saved for himself. Out of frustration, Mr. Matthew threatened to throw Daniel out, claiming he added no value to his life. Daniel tried to warn his father that the landlord was coming, but Mr. Matthew hid. They eventually calmed down and bonded over a football betting conversation. That same evening, a young man named Tobe was out jogging when his cousin and manager, Anthony, picked him up. As they drove home, Anthony reminded Tobe of his tight schedule, emphasizing how demanding life as a celebrity and footballer could be. When they got home, the family held a small celebration to mark Tobe's success, making a toast to their progress so far. The next morning, Daniel and his father watched a football match on Daniel's phone. One of the players was Tobe. During the match, they began discussing Tobe's earnings, which had crossed millions of naira. Mr. Matthew was shocked. Later, he discovered that Tobe's mother was Dorothy Ez, someone who had worked for him in the past. He suddenly remembered rejecting a boy who once approached him years ago. Could that boy have been Tobe? What would you do if the child you once rejected suddenly became a star? Would you claim them or stay silent in shame? One morning, Tobe's sister Princess was on a call with friends when she saw a video online. It was a man claiming to be Tobe's father. When she showed it to Tobe, he was furious and wanted to react, but Anthony advised him to stay calm, reminding him that, as a public figure, he needed to be careful with his words. Days later, Mr. Matthew was surprised that Tobe hadn't responded to the video. What he didn't know was that his own son Daniel was behind the post. Daniel was uneasy about it backfiring, but insisted his father follow his lead. Another day, Princess came to check on her brother. They shared a warm moment, and she encouraged him to stay strong. Eventually, Mr. Matthew and Daniel visited Dorothy's house. Toby wasn't around, but Mr. Matthew tried to force his way in, claiming he deserved a place in Tobe's life. Dorothy stood her ground and denied him. He shouted at her, insulted her, and even tried to take the wristwatch she wore, until Tobe suddenly walked in. Toby raised his voice in anger, calling Mr. Matthew out for being a stranger who never cared. He rejected him publicly and sent him out without remorse. Daniel, who had been calling his father to warn him, consoled him after the embarrassment and encouraged him to try again with more force. Toby, heartbroken, comforted his mother. He called Anthony to report the incident, but Dorothy advised her son to stay focused, insisting that this distraction wasn't worth his time. If you were in Toby's shoes, would you forgive a man who denied your existence when you needed him the most, but now wants to enjoy your success? Share your thoughts in the comments. That night, Mr. Matthew posted another video, painting Toby as an ungrateful son who rejected his father. When Anthony saw the post, he was furious. It could damage Tobe's reputation and career. The next morning, Tobe confronted his mother. "Why is he doing this?" he asked. Dorothy responded, "Because he wants to reap where he did not sow." Anthony advised they issue a public statement with facts to set the record straight. Toby, however, was too angry and wanted to lash out. Dorothy calmed him down once again, reminding him that silence sometimes speaks louder than words. Later that day, Toby released a video. In it, he boldly declared that Mr. Matthew was not his father. He stated that his real father was Jacob Aziz, the man who taught him how to be a man. He described Matthew as a leech and an opportunist, only trying to benefit from his success. That night, Dorothy opened up to her daughter. When asked about her connection to Mr. Matthew, she explained that she once worked for his father, a wealthy and powerful man, because she was poor and desperate. Eventually, she got pregnant for Matthew, who claimed to love her, but he denied the pregnancy. His denial led to his mother throwing Dorothy out of their home. She ended up living on the streets. One fateful day, while hustling for herself and the unborn child, Dorothy fainted and was rescued by a kind man who later became her husband. As Toby grew up, he eventually found out about Mr. Matthew and reached out. But Matthew's rejection and cruel words almost ruined Tobe's life. That's why Dorothy insisted that Jacob Ease, who stood by them and raised her son, would always be his true father. Overcome with emotion, she hugged her daughter tightly. If the man who abandoned you is now trying to force himself into your life after you've made it, do you let him in or shut the door for good? The next day at the gym, Toby saw the backlash his video had caused. Comments were pouring in. Social media was buzzing, and many were retweeting the story against him. Anthony, who had earlier warned him not to post without approval, was disappointed. On the other side, Daniel was excited. His father's video was gaining attention, and bloggers were picking up the story. But while Daniel was celebrating the attention, Mr. Matthew's only concern was the money. Meanwhile, Dorothy and her children sat down for a meal. Princess mentioned a campaign she and her friends had launched, both online and offline, highlighting the good things Toby had done. It was trending. When Mr. Matthew's name came up, Dorothy noticed her son becoming withdrawn, but he masked his feelings and praised his sister for her support. Later in the kitchen, Dorothy expressed her concern to Princess. She had never seen Toby this way before. She spoke words of encouragement to her daughter, trying to stay strong for the family. That night, Toby went for a late jog. As he ran, he recalled memories of his stepfather motivating him with the words, "Finish strong, never stop halfway." The next day, Tobe's sister and mother advised him about an upcoming interview. They urged him to stay calm, especially when the topic of family came up. Toby reassured them that everything would be fine. But during the interview, just as predicted, he was asked about his father. Toby couldn't control his emotions. Frustrated, he stood up and walked out of the interview. Later, while exercising, Toby saw that the interview clip had gone viral. Social media was ablaze again. Amidst the chaos, he found peace in the memories of his stepfather, Jacob, who had truly been a father to him. At one point, Daniel recorded a new video of Mr. Matthew as they planned their next move. Just then, Anthony called. He wanted to meet with them urgently. When they met, Mr. Matthew demanded that Tobe start sending him 1 million naira monthly and also make a public apology video, taking back all the false statements. Anthony was shocked and offered a one-time payment instead. But Mr. Matthew stood his ground, unmoved by reason or shame. Anthony returned and told Tobe about the encounter. Tobe was furious. "We tried to make peace," he said, "but it clearly doesn't matter to him." The next day, Anthony met with Dorothy. He revealed that Tobe planned to meet with Mr. Matthew again, despite knowing that Matthew had nothing to lose and no shame left. Dorothy promised to talk to her son. After preparing a meal, she went to find him. At first, Tobe refused to listen, but Dorothy spoke firmly, explaining the potential damage to his career. Eventually, he agreed to meet Matthew on the condition that she would come with him, but Dorothy, filled with anger, declined. Still, she managed to persuade him to go ahead and handle it wisely. If you were Tobe, would you meet the man who abandoned and disrespected you just to protect your career? Or would you walk away knowing your silence might speak louder? Let us know your take in the comments. Toby and Anthony went to see Mr. Matthew at his place. After listening to Matthew's outrageous demands, Toby gave his own terms, but Matthew refused. He began calling Tobe names, and the situation escalated into an exchange of harsh words. Eventually, Toby and Anthony left, brushing off Matthew's threats as empty. On their way out, Anthony was visibly frustrated. He scolded Toby, saying he was ruining every opportunity they had left. Meanwhile, Daniel encouraged his father to stay strong and not give up. Though Mr. Matthew was beginning to lose hope, Daniel assured him that everything would soon turn in their favor. Guys, do you think Daniel and his father will truly get what they want by using manipulation and lies? Let's wait and find out. Days later, the news was filled with scandalous stories about Toby. Blogs and media outlets were spreading all sorts of rumors. Anthony received a call from someone who promised that the situation would be handled. He tried to reassure Toby, but Tobe remained silent and distant. That night, Tobe went jogging to clear his mind. He flashed back to a moment when Jacob, his stepfather, consoled him and promised to always stand by him no matter what. Later that evening, a young lady named Pearl, a journalist living in the estate, found Tobe almost fainted during his jog. She brought him home. Dorothy, his mother, was grateful and thanked her warmly. Pearl gave her a card, just in case, and Tobe walked her out to avoid further conversation. The next day, Anthony was reviewing some of Tobe's documents, the same ones used to secure his position at the football club. He realized that if they couldn't provide certain key details, Toby could be in serious trouble. While on a call, Anthony promised to do everything possible to fix the situation. Meanwhile, Toby was completely down. His mother noticed and grew very worried. She blamed herself, but Toby stopped her. They both wished Jacob were still alive. He would have known exactly what to do. Toby was devastated, watching all his hard work begin to fall apart. Later, Dorothy, determined to help, picked up Pearl's card and decided to reach out. She had a feeling the young journalist might be the key to getting to the truth. Toby, on the other hand, locked himself in his room, lost in memories of playing football with his stepfather, the man who truly raised him. Days passed. Anthony and Princess tried to convince him to eat or come out, but he refused. Then one day, he heard a familiar voice in his head. It was Jacob's, encouraging him to stay strong and never give up. Motivated, he joined his sister in the living room. Soon after, Anthony and Dorothy sat Tobe down and shared the good news. His name had been cleared. Thanks to Pearl's investigative skills, they were able to uncover the truth and expose the lies. Now, whatever decision Toby made concerning Mr. Matthew would stand, and the world would understand. Tobe was stunned and relieved. Daniel was arrested. Mr. Matthew, now alone and broken, regretted everything. Bitterness and greed had cost him the son, the love, and the legacy he once had a chance to embrace. One day, Toby was invited for another interview. When asked about forgiveness, he gave his final words. Forgiveness isn't about them, it's about you. Hatred can eat you from the inside out. The interviewer was deeply touched, and the moment quietly passed. The moral lesson of this movie is, greed, pride, and selfishness will always destroy what love and humility could have built. Sometimes, the people who truly raise us aren't tied to us by blood, but by sacrifice. And in the end, forgiveness is the most powerful gift you can give, not to others, but to yourself. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and of course, hit the subscribe button for more captivating movies from us.